What's up, guys? It's Fantastic Films here today. Today I am reviewing Black Panther, one of my favorite films of the year so far, and one of my favorite MCU films so far. I'll explain. Black Panther is masterfully directed by Ryan Coogler and stars Chadwick Boseman, Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o, I'm so sorry, I butchered that name, but I don't know how to say her name. Of course, Whitaker is also in here. This is an amazing cast. This movie is honestly amazing. I'm going to start off with positives and get into negatives, because this does have like one negative, but it's a very, very small thing. I love the serious tone. All of the MCU films of recent years are all comedies. Guardians of the Galaxy, I love that, but the second one, I didn't like it. I just hate the comedy route that they're taking. Spider-Man Homecoming was one of my favorite MCU films thus far. The only issue is I felt that the comedy went a little bit too far. And my biggest issue with Guardians Volume 2 is that you didn't care about when it feel like it was a great comedy, but then when they cut back to the serious stuff, the action, you know, the actual storyline, you didn't care. You just wanted to go back to Drax cracking jokes about how ugly this alien was. I mean, it's funny. It's funny stuff. It's definitely a watchable movie, but it just feels like it drags whenever they cut back to the important stuff. And you want it to be the other way around, where it's blended well, the comedy is like kind of weaved in, and it's nice. But when they cut to the serious stuff, you want to be in it. You want to be invested in it, because that's what these movies are all about. Now, some people really like the comedy. I'm just not a huge fan of it. But Black Panther is really, really serious. There's a couple jokes, you know, trademark with Marvel. But it's not like, it's just blended well. Like every time it cuts back to serious stuff or like jokes, someone will have like a funny one-liner. And I don't know, it's just a great movie. It's very well done. The serious tone is perfect. Next, the casting. The casting is amazing in this movie. My favorite performance, obviously, behind Michael B. Jordan. He's incredible. He is, and I know I'm probably going to get hate for this, I like him better than Loki. He's my favorite MCU villain so far. I just think his character is well realized. You understand his motives, you understand where he's coming from, and the best kind of villains in movies are the villains that challenge the hero's ethics. The villains that matter, the villains that make the hero stop and think about who they are and what they're doing. And those are just the best kind of villains in movies that keep it interesting. Chadwick Boseman is great as Black Panther. This is my favorite performance of his. He's also really good in 42, but this is his best performance so far. Cinematography in this movie is amazing. Everything looks so beautiful. The way they film Wakanda, a lot of people are saying that a lot of like the special effects in Wakanda are kind of bad. I think they're good. I've seen it 4 times in theaters, and I'm probably going to see it again because I love it. Ultimately, I think the CGI is pretty good. There's only one scene where they're having this duel in the beginning, and there's like a waterfall, and when they look past the waterfall, the sky looks a little bit fake, doesn't look quite finished. But overall, if CG is all that makes a movie good for you, then you don't really like movies. Overall, the CG is really good in this movie. Cinematography, the way they move the camera around, the different shots, it's beautifully crafted together. It's very creative. And I'm a huge fan of Ryan Coogler's previous work, like Fruitvale Station and Creed. He just makes amazing movies, all with Michael B. Jordan, so I'm really excited with this kind of pair they have. This movie is also very cultural. I really appreciate the extra mile they went in some things. The costume design on Black Panther's suit, like the little scale things, are like little triangles and stuff. And apparently that's very authentic. It's a very important symbol in the African culture. And the costume designers really went the extra mile for that. And the soundtrack too, Kendrick Lamar, he's great. He did a great soundtrack. But the actual soundtrack by, I think like Ludwig Göransson, I probably butchered that name too just because I can't remember it. His soundtrack is great. You got lots of like just African kind of sounds and tones and feels. And the whole movie just feels very cultural and very authentic and very unique. And the accents, everybody has an African accent. I think it's great. It's very unique to this movie. They're not trying to make it like a big superhero movie. Oh, going back to casting, Andy Serkis is great. I wanted to put that in there because I forgot to say it, but Andy Serkis is like the perfect amount of zany and crazy and like just all around a great villain. And lastly, the action sequences are filmed perfectly. Creed, we saw Ryan Coogler doing long takes of action sequences. That one boxing match that was all one take is phenomenal. And this man really knows how to direct an action sequence. In this movie, the action is great. The action sequences are filmed great. You can clearly see what's going on, and the stunt work is very good. Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan both did almost all of their own stunts, which is also amazing. Now I'm going to get into negatives, and this is just a small spoiler. But technically nothing happens, but the way they set it up, it looks like something's going to happen. So, spoiler warning, just real quick. There's this one scene where Martin Freeman, who is Everett Ross or something like that, I can't remember his last name, in the movie, his character, he's flying like this ship, basically, and he starts taking fire, and it looks like he's about to die. Like the way he says, like, you know, how much longer do I have? And like the little robot voice tells him, and he's like, okay, you know, put me back in. It seems like he's gonna die, and I was ready for that. I mean, I like Martin Freeman's character, but it just seemed the way they set it up. I was ready for it. I was emotionally invested, ready for him to die, and then they don't. He gets out of there, and it just seems kind of like a tease. But overall, this movie is incredible. Now it comes to the grading part. Honestly, it had that one little negative, but overall, it's just an amazing movie. I've said that a bunch of times. So honestly, this movie gets an A+ for me. A lot of people are saying it's pretty good, like B worthy, maybe an A-, but I think it's an A+. Maybe it's because I've seen it so many times. This movie is extremely rewatchable. I'm probably going to see it again before it goes out of theaters. I really want to. It's just an amazing movie. I'm definitely buying the Steelbook. I'm pre-ordering that thing. It's just an amazing movie. Please, please, please check this movie out. That is going to be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching my review of Black Panther. Just a quick little announcement. I have a short film coming out. I know it may be out before this video or not, or maybe like after this video. I don't know. It depends on how excited I am with how it turns out. But me and my friends spent a good weekend doing it, and we had a really good time. It's really good. And yeah, I can't wait for you guys to see it. So definitely make sure to keep looking out for that. And definitely make sure, if you liked this video, give it a like. If you had any comments, questions, ideas, just advice, leave it in the comments section down below. I always get back to you guys. And make sure to subscribe. That way I can see you guys soon. Peace.